It was 8th of March 2014, a typical Saturday in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 was scheduled to depart from Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 in the morning, bound for Beijing, China. The plane was a Boeing 777-200ER, carrying 227 passengers and 12 crew members, including Captain Zahri Ahmad Shah and First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid. The takeoff was normal and the plane climbed smoothly into the sky. Headed north towards China, the flight path would take them over the South China Sea and then northwest toward the Gulf of Thailand, before turning northeast toward Beijing. This flight flies in the correct direction for about 20 minutes, but at 1:08 in the morning, this flight crossed the Malaysian coastline and reached above the South China Sea, in the direction of Vietnam. Zahri reported that the plane was at 35,000 feet. About 11 minutes later, the plane entered the jurisdiction of the Vietnam air traffic. That's why the air traffic control of Kuala Lumpur radios the plane saying good night. Captain Zahri answered by saying good night MAS 370. But these words by Captain Zahri were the last words from this airplane. After this, there was no news from this flight. The Malaysian Airlines flight disappeared suddenly, and this became the biggest aviation mystery in the world. What's up everyone, and welcome to our YouTube and Facebook channel. If you are watching our channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. And if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up. And now, let me tell you the mysterious disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370. Merely 30 seconds after entering the Vietnamese airspace, this plane disappeared from the radar suddenly. And it was 1:20 in the morning. The air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur didn't notice this, and when they do, they think that the plane had flown out of the range of their radar and had entered Vietnamese airspace. So there is nothing unusual. On the other hand, the air traffic control in Vietnam saw that the MH370 entered their airspace, but disappeared from their radar suddenly. They tried to communicate with the plane, but there was no response from the other side. After repeatedly trying for 18 minutes, Vietnamese controllers informed Kuala Lumpur that MH370 had disappeared. It was 6:30 in the morning. This was the time by when the airplane should have landed in Beijing, but it did not land. A search operation was called immediately. Efforts began to find the plane. This search operation was an international effort. 34 ships and 28 aircraft from 7 different countries tried to look for this plane that morning, but there was no trace of the plane. On 12th March, it was reported that though the plane had disappeared from the civilian radar, but a military radar had spotted the plane that night. And surprisingly, according to this military radar, this plane was last seen at 2:20 in the morning. But it wasn't located above the South China Sea. Rather, it was near the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The search operation now focused on the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean, an area that was almost impossible to search effectively. Authorities used satellites data and other advanced technologies to try and locate the missing plane. One of the most important pieces of information that helped investigators in their search was the theory of seventh arc. The seventh arc is a line of latitude in southern Indian Ocean, where the plane last known communication with the satellite occurred. Using this information, investigators were able to narrow down the search area. For weeks and months, the search operation continued, but despite the best effort of authorities, there was no sign of the missing plane. The surface search operation was eventually called off on April 2014, and the search moved underwater, with deep sea vessels scanning the ocean floor for any signs of the wreckage. For weeks, months, and even years, they tried to look for the plane, but didn't find anything 3 years later, and after spending $160 million, they called off this operation. And this operation was deemed a failure. In July 2015, the first piece of debris was found from this plane. The debris reached the island of Reunion by floating. This island is in east of Madagascar. The flaperon of the plane was found there. In 2018, an American company, Ocean Infinity, signed a new contract with Malaysian government. They wanted to conduct a search operations, and if they are not able to find the plane, they wouldn't charge any fees. And they kept searching for months, but unfortunately, they failed in their mission too. During the search, theories about what might have happened to plane began to emerge. In the first theory, Captain Zahri Shah is being accused. It is being said that the captain intentionally disabled communications and took the plane and crashed it into the ocean. But the official in charge of the search operation completely denied this theory. Then, second theory came that there must be some hijackers on the plane, some terrorists. They must have done this. When this second theory came forward, 2 passengers of the plane were under suspicion. They were Iranian, and they were suspicious because they were traveling with a fake passport. One of them had the passport stolen from an Italian man, and the other had the stolen passport of an Australian man. Both passports were stolen in Thailand, but in the end, this theory of terror was rejected because other than these stolen passports, there was no proof that they were actually terrorists intending to carry out a terror attack. The theory of decompression still remained the most rational explanation, that the passengers and the crew on MH370 fainted because of the oxygen deficiency, including pilot Captain Zahri Ahmed and his co-pilot. The entire plane actually passed out and kept running on autopilot. And there must have been some technical malfunctions on autopilot too. But basically, the autopilot kept running till the fuel of the plane ran out, and then the plane crashed into the ocean. Other theories were more outlandish, including hijacking, pilot suicide, and even UFO abduction. But without any evidence to support these claims, there remained nothing more than wild speculation. Despite the theories of wreckage, the exact cause of the plane's disappearance remains a mystery. The theory of decompression still remains the most rational explanation. But there are still many unanswered questions, like why did the plane change course? And why did it continue flying for hours after it disappeared from radar screens? The search for answers continues, but for the families and the loved ones of those on board Flight MH370, closure may never come. They are left with the pain of not knowing what happened to their loved ones, and the hope that someday the truth will be uncovered. And that's it for today's episode of Let Me Tell You. I hope you find our videos informative and interesting. Let us know about your thoughts in the comments below. We value your feedback and want to hear your thoughts on this topic. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Let Me Tell You, where we will continue to uncover intriguing stories and fascinating facts.